Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today and we're going to document a couple more pyramids. One I had just briefly mentioned and another I have not mentioned before. But this mystery of the unfinished pyramids started in August. I made this video about the pyramid at Zayat al-Aryan. And now other people, Jimmy at Bright Insight, Matt at Ancient Architects, and now Vlad 9VT made this video today about the unfinished northern pyramid and the pyramid of Djedefre. So if you want to check that out, we all have our own style of making videos, and I like the way he just gives you a look around, forces your mind to put the story together. But people are realizing that this is a great mystery, these unfinished pyramids. And I had a comment that somebody thinks that maybe the alternative researchers on YouTube are the ones that are going to solve this mystery of what these structures actually were. Well, I think we're the only ones looking into the truth. You're certainly not going to get it from the Egyptologists who have their heads stuck in the sand and won't budge on their dim views of history. And let's go down to South Saqqara. This is the place that I mentioned when I said I was going to make a series on the pyramids in Egypt. And when I just briefly looked at this one, I knew I needed to look at all of them because I figured there was a great mystery to some of these places. They don't appear to be Egyptian at all. And this is called the Southern Saqqara Pyramid. There is an enclosure wall. People say this is kind of unfinished. And this is one of the strangest places in all of Egypt as far as these structures. Now here is an overhead look, a 3D look, and it's not much 3D because this is all buried. But we can clearly see very weird structures popping out from under the sand here. But just to the north and east of this is a small pyramid, and this is called Khendjer's pyramid, and this is not on my pyramid series list. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this one. But there was a couple pretty interesting things found here. They theorize this was a pyramid, but what stands here today is just core stones that only are about waist high. I don't think there was ever a pyramid here. They just base this on theories on other pyramids and just the little bit that remains here. But it looks like a structure here, maybe a causeway. Khendjer's pyramid, that is what this is called. Now here is what they theorize the pyramid looked like, based on just about a waist-high course of stones left here. This is wild speculation. Were these unfinished pyramids, and this is just totally bogus representation of what these might have looked like? Well, that's possible. Now, here is a diagram of what lies underneath this small, undescript pyramid, they call it. But we have a descending shaft coming down, and there are blocks in here blocking these strange, perfectly made passages and chambers. There is one 42-ton block, and this chamber here is made out of a single 150-ton quartzite block. And that just smells of the Serapeum. How they made those places and what is actually in those places. 150-ton block making up the whole burial chamber room, it is described. And here is a pyramidion found in the pyramid of Khendjer. And it seems the Egyptians added some hieroglyphs to this, but this is perfectly mirrored, smooth, polished granite. And it seems the Egyptians added the work to this and maybe ruined it a little. Now this pyramidion found in the so-called pyramid of Khendjer, does this give us accurate attribution to this pyramid? Well, the name Userkare is on here, and he comes from a totally different dynasty. Do they have this right? Are they confusing throne names? But Userkare is connected with the pyramid, I believe, up at Abu Sir. Do they have this history right? Well, I doubt it. But let's move over from this pyramid here of Khendjer down to this, what is called the unattested pyramid of South Saqqara, simply because there is not one single inscription in this place. It is barren of all records of any dynastic Egyptians. And I have made videos from the first dynasty through the 18th dynasty up until about 2,000 years ago, where the dynastic Egyptians covered their tombs and monuments and temples in hieroglyphs and stories of the life, and they definitely wanted to be commemorated. This place is totally barren, a great clue that it's pre-dynastic, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the dynastic Egyptians. Totally barren of hieroglyphs. That is important. What is underneath here? Pretty remarkable. Now this is Tour Egypt, and I am just going to read. Southwest of Khendjer's pyramid at South Saqqara is found the substructure for an unfinished pyramid that was discovered by Saqqara, though not much else remains. Another, what they call unfinished pyramid, because that is the only word that they can come up with that makes any sense to them. It had an impressive side length of 78.75 meters, 258 feet. It is generally surmised, because of the pyramid's intended size, the masonry of fine Tura limestone casing the corridors, the fine construction of the burial chamber, and the elaborate closure system, that the pyramid was begun for a significant ruler, or at least a very ambitious one. However, he was almost certainly not buried there, and there is no indication of a ruler's cult worship within the complex. Apparently, we have virtually no idea who this ruler may have been, which is very unusual. Most pyramids in Egypt are so stylized within any given period that we can at least guess who the owner was. But this structure represents one of the very few that leave us with almost no hints of its builder. It's pre-dynastic, and it hints of the Serapeum. It says this pyramid does provide us with evidence of at least the general time frame of its construction, and seems to have been built about the same time as Khendjer's pyramid. The core of the pyramid superstructure was only just begun to be made out of mud brick. The pyramid has a surprisingly elaborate, complete substructure. The substructure is totally complete, not unlike the northern Mazguna pyramid. However, this is actually one of the finest substructures, at least, of the whole Middle Kingdom and beyond. They theorize this was built in the Middle Kingdom. That would have made it the only pyramid built in the Middle Kingdom. It's ridiculous. But here we have something interesting, and this relates it to the northern pyramid of Mazguna that I really didn't go into yesterday, but I showed you. It said, regular rows of black painted stripes decorate the white limestone walls of almost every chamber within the substructure. The corridors leading to the burial chamber switches back on itself to form a U-shape. The entrance to the pyramid lies on its axis at the foot of the east side and leads to a long stairway and ramp that descends to the first of the three large portcullis barriers. After this first barrier, a small chamber opens to the south, where a second corridor leads to another small chamber. From the second small chamber, the corridor turns back again to the west, with a narrow passage that leads to a third, longer chamber. It says here, a wide, dead-end corridor first leads to the north. Just past that, another stairway and short corridor also leads to the north, and to another long chamber or corridor. In the center of this chamber's east wall, a final long, narrow corridor first passes the two remaining portcullis barriers before arriving at an antechamber, and then west of it, the main burial chamber. This place was unfinished, really? It says this chamber was formed from a monolithic quartzite block weighing some 150 tons. I just find this place thoroughly fascinating. Not one bit of Egyptian inscriptions. A 150-ton single monolithic quartzite block making up the chamber. Remember, this is about a little over 100 tons. This is in the Serapeum. The block in the unattested South Pyramid of Saqqara was 150 tons. But that'll give you some clue. How did they get this down there? Now, how they got this down here, this 150-ton single quartzite block that is probably, even bigger than this, well, that is a true mystery today. If we are moving something 150 tons, we need some of the best construction equipment available. We would need a massive truck with a counterweight in it. And how are they doing this thousands of years ago? I guess that's a true mystery. And what was found here? 2 totally uninscribed, nothing on these whatsoever, nothing Egyptian, but 2 pyramidions. One lacking the top of it, and one having the tip of the pyramid attached. I find this incredibly interesting. Is this linking the site in some way to the structures we see on the Giza Plateau? Of course, the Great Pyramid is lacking its capstone. And the Pyramid of Khafre has its capstone, or has its top to it. Is this linking it to the Giza Plateau? I find that fascinating. This is what was found here. No inscriptions on them. If they carved these granite pyramidions, the dynastic Egyptians, they would have told you why. Now let's read about those pyramidions. It says, around the pyramid ran a wavy, undulating perimeter wall built out of mud bricks. And I showed you one yesterday from the pyramid down at Masguna. Considering, and what was the purpose of that? Did it have a function? It says, considering that the superstructure of this pyramid was hardly begun, that's funny, it's unfinished or incomplete, just like structures all over Egypt. Outside the near entrance, a very surprising find consisted of 2 pyramidions. They were both made from black granite, though one was polished smooth, while the other was only roughly finished and had a truncated top. One of the pyramidions may have been for a subsidiary pyramid, or might have been meant to remain on the ground as a votive pyramidion. No inscriptions were found on either pyramidion, nor anywhere else within this substructure. And the only places that are void of hieroglyphs totally, the Great Pyramid, the Valley Temple in front of the Sphinx, the Osirian. Now here is what is below. This covered up, what they kind of hint is an unfinished pyramid, descending stairs, chambers, and then a really complex network of chambers, tunnels, some of these blocked by 40-ton blocks. But here, one chamber made out of a 150-ton quartzite block. How in the hell did they get that down there and into place? That is a true mystery. Not one single inscription in this place. Seriously hinting it's pre-dynastic. But here, we have what is known as the Southern Saqqara Pyramid, just because no attribution can be made. There isn't a single inscription. Greatest hint, it's pre-dynastic, and you see here all the stuff under the sand. What exactly is this? This place is more like the Serapeum than it is a pyramid. But this is Southern Saqqara. This mystery is deep. A lot of people are looking into this, and that's pretty cool. There is also one more pyramid down there in Dashur called the Pyramid of Ameni. I did mention that. I know I had some comments, but I did mention that in my Egypt Pyramid series, but I didn't attach to a name to that place, so I appreciate those comments. Well, I think this mystery is just deepening, and I'm glad other people are working on it. Are we going to find out the truth? Well, maybe if we all put our heads together, get some good comments, maybe this mystery will be solved. But this place down at Southern Saqqara is so completely lacking any inscription that even the crafty Egyptologists can't even put a lame attachment to a pharaoh to this place. This place has a 150-ton single monolithic quartzite block in it. The mysteries of Egypt are deep and profound. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have a very nice day.